Hey everyone, today's video is going to be a first impressions on a new L'Oreal foundation, and that is the L'Oreal Total Cover Infallible Foundation. I think this foundation in a different variation, I think it might be called something different, has been out in America for a wee while, but this is just launched in New Zealand. I actually recently got sent this PR package here. This was one of a few boxes, but this is like the face product box. So I've got 2 shades of the foundation. I also have their Total Cover Concealer and some highlighters, so I'll try to use those as well in this video. But we're mainly going to be focusing on the foundation because this is supposed to be a high coverage foundation, which I don't really have that many of because, as you guys know, generally on a daily basis I prefer more light makeup, but I thought that I would give this a go just to try it out because it might be like the perfect full coverage foundation. Really quickly looking at the packaging, it's in a squeeze style bottle. I like the way that it's kind of got the colour visible through the packaging. It's also worth mentioning that this has 35 grams of product, whereas most have 30 grams, so that's really cool. It's slightly bigger than your average foundation. I will put the price on screen along with the number of shades. I have 2 shades here. This one is called Natural Rose, which I think is more of like a pink shade. And then I've also got Light Sand, which I think this is probably going to be my closest match. On the back it also tells you that the coverage is supposed to be high and the finish is supposed to be matte. It says, pro tip, covers imperfections, redness, marks and dark spots. Camo stretch technology, ultimate spreadability, even coverage. Which I think that sounds awesome, so let's get right into trying it out. I did apply moisturiser probably about an hour to an hour and a half ago, so my skin does have some moisture to it. I think this colour is going to work for me. I'm just going to squeeze it. Oh, it's pretty thick. So first off, it's pretty thick, it's not going anywhere. I think this is going to be really full coverage. The colour looks pretty damn good. I was kind of thinking it might be too dark, but it's looking like it'll work, which is awesome. I think the best type of brush to apply this might be a flat top or like a kabuki style brush. Just picked up a little bit on there. Just gonna start blending it in. Hopefully you guys can see how well this is covering. I'm actually quite impressed. I'm not really using that much, like I've still got heaps on the back of my hand and I've nearly done half of my face to like a medium to full sort of level. This colour is actually perfect for me, you guys. I'm actually really surprised. I usually find when I get PR kits, the colours don't work, but this is like ideal. I'm going to try and keep this application short and sweet because I find that these tend to be long on my first impressions, but we've got the before and the after one coat. Hopefully you guys can see a huge difference because I definitely can. You can definitely still see my freckles. The redness from this blemish isn't completely covered, so I'd say this is sort of like a medium coverage, but I still have heaps of product left, like I barely used any, so I'm just going to take a little bit more. I'm just going to sort of pat this over my cheeks just to see if I can get it a little bit more flawless. So with a little bit more foundation, it's definitely covered up my freckles even more, but you can still see them. I find that most foundations can't cover them, so this to me is what I would consider to be full coverage. I'm just going to pop a little bit more on my forehead. So with a tiny bit more, I think that this is what I personally consider full coverage. If I came up really close, you guys would still be able to see my freckles, but they are very dark at the moment considering it's summer, so not a lot will cover them. I mean, all of my redness is covered. You can barely even see that blemish anymore. Any sort of imperfections are concealed. It hasn't pulled in my pores at all. It hasn't necessarily made them look smaller, but it hasn't made them look larger, so that works for me. I used almost all of the foundation that was on my hand. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. For me, I think it's a good thing because that wasn't very much. That was probably like the equivalent of maybe 1.5 pumps, and I've got this amount of coverage, so I'm pretty happy with that. By the way, this is definitely a matte finish. There is little to no sort of glow to it. There's pretty much none actually, but I wouldn't say it's like a flat matte. It's still, I can still feel it on my skin in the sense that like it's not going to make you look powdery and gross. It's like just the perfect amount of matte. By the way, I haven't mentioned when I started applying this, it was about 10 o'clock, so yeah, that's our starting point. I am really quickly going to go and match up this side of my face to this side, and then I will be right back. Okay guys, so I've got the Total Cover foundation over my entire face and I am super duper impressed. I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but this looks so beautiful. The only thing I will say is that my skin at the moment isn't super dry, but I have found that around my nose where I need a good exfoliate, I can see a little bit of dryness there. So if you have dry skin, this probably at the moment I can say will still work for you, but I would recommend using a nice hydrating primer or a hydrating base. And maybe sort of focusing that around your dry areas. But other than that, I think this looks beautiful. By the way guys, I don't think this has an SPF in it, so if you are going to be wearing this in the sun, you need to make sure that you have an SPF underneath your foundation. So it's been a few minutes since the last clip because my camera died, so I really quickly just did my eyebrows and I applied my under eye concealer. While we're here and before I go to finish off my makeup, I did just want to talk about this. I used this just a second ago and I also used it a few weeks ago. This is a full coverage long wear concealer palette. In New Zealand there's just one palette, whereas in America I think there's two. This has 3 skin tone shades, a purple and a green. I used the green a few weeks ago when I was sunburnt and it worked a treat. Like, I've never used a green concealer before, but this worked so well at helping to cover up the green tones, especially on my nose. And I just used this one like a few minutes ago and it covered up any traces of that blemish. These are really, really thin. They're not super thick and creamy. They're quite thin, which I like, but they pack a huge punch. Like, it was super duper concealing and high coverage. So I think that's everything that I have to say for now about this foundation. We're starting this first impression at 10. It's been on for about 15 minutes, but we started at 10, so let's see how many hours this will last. I'll be back in a few seconds with a finished face. Hey guys, so it's 10:15, so that means this makeup has been on for about 45 minutes. The main focus here though isn't how long it's been on, it's just me telling you about how it looks with everything on top. I have noticed a few things while I have been applying other stuff. The first one, I feel like you can tell the foundation is definitely oxidized. Not like by a huge amount, but it's definitely changed colour a little bit. I also did notice down here, I don't know, I think I might have blended it out, there was like a little bit of patchiness. I don't think that was probably my fault, I probably didn't blend it well enough, but there was sort of like a darker patch in one spot as opposed to next to it. The other thing is that it does look quite dry, and I was afraid that this might happen because I do, as I said, my skin is mostly dry. I just get oily through the T-zone when it's hot and sweaty and stuff like that. It does look a tiny bit dry. I did apply a smidge of powder on top just because I found that the blush didn't blend the way that I wanted it to without the powder, so I think you will have to set this foundation. It could have also been because I was using a different blush brush and I didn't really know how it worked. I don't know, but my blush didn't go on perfectly like it should have. So I did use a little bit of powder. I mean, it still looks really, really nice. I'll come in and do a close-up, but it looks a little bit drier than I would have liked. So the only thing that I would recommend is if you have dry or maybe even normal skin, do moisturize and use a primer with this because it is quite a matte foundation. I don't know if you can tell, it looks a little bit dry. It still looks amazing though, like don't get me wrong, it hasn't like accentuated my pores. It's still got really great coverage. It's just particularly around my nose. I don't know if it's because my nose was sunburnt recently and it's like a little bit dry still, but hopefully you can kind of see what it looks like. It was down here that there was like a little bit of discoloration. I think I might not have blended it right, but yeah, that's what it looks like up close. Hope that you guys think it looks as good as I do because I love it. All in all, I'm still really impressed with it. My only complaints are that it oxidizes a tiny bit and it is a little bit drying, which is expected with matte foundations. I'm going to go about my day now. I have to go and do a little bit of cleaning and I'm going to hang out with my friend Emily, so all of my updates throughout today will be in different places because I'm going out. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. Hey guys, so it is 11:45, so this foundation's been on for pretty much 4 hours. I think it looks really nice. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't look oily or anything. It hasn't worn off. I don't know what to say, but I think it looks really good. Let me know what you think down below, but so far so good. 4 hours. It looks really nice. You like it, eh, Emily?
Yes.
Yes, looks pretty good. Okay, bye. Alright guys, so it's been about a week since I filmed the last clip for this video. I realised that I didn't really wrap up the video, and I also wanted to wait and give you a few more thoughts because I was kind of on the fence after wearing this for the first time, because looking back on the footage, it seemed to look a lot more worn. Sorry, that was my cat. She just kicked the tripod. So since filming the video, I've worn the foundation 4 times. This is my 4th time wearing it, and every time I wear it, I feel like I kind of perfect it that little bit more. Today, I actually applied it with the XO Beauty Flawless Finish sponge, which is like a beauty blender, but it's got a slightly different texture, and I actually prefer it to the beauty blender. And I think it came out so stunning today. Like, I'm really even more in love with it than I was when I was using the brush. But what I found is that the reason why it wore so poorly, or not poorly, but it wore not as good as it could have, is because I didn't apply a primer. Now, I don't think you should have to wear a primer with a foundation to make it wear well, but because I have dry skin, I think because this is such a mattifying foundation, I need to wear like either a really thick moisturizer or a moisturizing primer. And obviously wearing a primer in general just helps to make it last longer. And I also found that it needed to be set with powder even though I do have dry skin. I'll come in close so that you can see how it looks. I feel like with the moisturizer it looks a lot nicer up close. Hopefully you can see, I'm not wearing it super high coverage today, but I feel like it looks a lot better on my skin now that I've been wearing it with moisturizer. So yeah, I did just want to come back and confirm my thoughts, and all in all I love this foundation. It will be in my regular rotation when I want to do a look more like this, you know, a little bit more intense, a little bit more vibrant, or a little bit more dramatic. I will definitely go for this as one of my full coverage foundations. But my only thing is that if you have dry to extremely dry skin, like drier than mine, you probably won't be able to use this foundation. I don't think it'll wear that great on you. I think it'll kind of accentuate that dryness. But be my guest if you guys still want to try it. Definitely do, and let me know how you found it. Again, if you guys have tried this foundation, please comment down below and let me know your thoughts. As you guys can see, I love it. I keep going back to it. I just think it looks so beautiful. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!